Hi, my name is Adrian Rivera, and today I'll be demonstrating how to take the proper blood pressure using a blood pressure cuff, okay, and a stethoscope. So we'll start by explaining the blood pressure cuff. So what this blood pressure cuff is, it has a bladder inside, okay, and we have our actual gauge and our Bolbin valve, okay. The gauge itself is going to be measuring in millimeters of mercury, and they're going to be in even numbers, okay. So as you can tell, if we close the valve, it'll go up in increments of 2s, and the first beat we hear, and the beat we're looking for, is a thumping sound. It will be describing our systolic, and as the pressure gradually decreases, the last thumping sound we hear will be our diastolic sound. Okay, so on the blood pressure cuff also, we have an artery mark, and that'll determine where to put our the blood pressure cuff, along with the brachial artery. Okay, and lastly, we have our Bolbin valve. This is to increase the pressure on the actual blood pressure cuff, and then as we turn to the left, it'll release all the pressure in the cuff. Okay, and lastly, our second tool is our stethoscope. Now the stethoscope, you want to make sure before inserting into your ears that the prongs are facing forward before placing in. Okay, and then lastly, with the stethoscope, you want to make sure, since some do come with an on and off, if it's turned and you don't hear a light tapping on it, then you want to turn it the other way and then also just test for it. And you should hear a nice thumping in there. Great. So now we finished describing the tools, and we're going to start assessing the blood pressure. So we have our patient here today. His name is Gilbert. Thank you for coming out, Gilbert.
No problem.
Gilbert, before we get started, have you had any nicotine or any caffeine in the last 30 minutes?
No, sir.
No? Great, let's get started. And now to make sure we assess it properly, we want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, flat on the floor. You got some good back support. And Gilbert, we're going to start by describing and checking what size is the appropriate blood pressure cuff size. And as you can tell, this one's too big, so we'll go ahead and get the appropriate size. Get the right one. Great. So this is the appropriate blood pressure cuff. Before putting it on, we're going to palpate for the brachial artery. So we'll check for the brachial artery. Okay, we've got it. Great. And this is where the marking on the blood pressure cuff comes in handy. So we'll go ahead and align both of those together. And you want to make sure it's on bare skin. So if we need to roll up the sleeve a little more, we will. We'll line that brachial artery with the marking on the blood pressure cuff. And you want to make sure it's kind of snug, but not too tight. Okay. Perfect. Now, to make things easier on yourself, you can also clip this on to the actual blood pressure cuff. And that should be just right so that you can tell exactly where you're hearing your thumping sounds. We'll open the valve, make sure the gauge is showing at 0. And now we'll put on our stethoscope. With the prongs facing forward, we'll put them on. Lightly tap and make sure it's on, which it is. And you want to also make sure is that you grab it and you hold it with your middle finger and index finger, not by putting your fingers on top, because this can actually impede on some of the thumping sounds you're looking for. Okay. Now we'll slip it under, slightly under the cuff. Okay. Looking for that thumping sound. There we go. We'll close the valve. Okay. And we'll begin pumping, increasing the pressure in the cuff. Now the first sound we hear, we mentioned, is going to be the systolic, and we're going to inflate to a range of 180 to 200 millimeters of mercury. Now as we decrease, we're going to decrease at a rate of 2 to 5 millimeters of mercury per second. So there we go, we heard our first thumping sound. And that's our last thumping sound, which is our diastolic. Once you determine your systolic over diastolic, we'll go ahead and release. So we've got a reading of 160 over 98. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you take 2 readings, and we'll get the average of both readings, and that'll be an accurate reading of our blood pressure. So we'll let him rest a minute and we'll do it all over again. But that concludes our video for today, and thank you for watching.